if we have it. If we do have sound right now, go ahead to write it on. Can you hear me? Can you hear me on YouTube? Can you hear me on Facebook? Okay. Let me know. Can you hear me? Trick or treat on sound. This no sound. Can you hear me right now? 1, 2, 3 testing. Come on, folks. You got to help me here because I don't know. You have to tell me, is there sound? Can you hear me now? Yes, you can. Okay, so we're all set. We're all set. Okay. So anyways, you didn't hear what we said at first, but I am doing the happy dance in the Plaza Hotel up here in Washington, D.C., and I am so happy today that we had a great turnout at the protest. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I've been involved with the, for the last year, really, with the Freebie people. Justin out of Seattle, Washington was there. But the woman that runs the protest, I mean, the lady that was really totally involved with it, she's so paranoid. I mean, she does not want anyone to know who she is. She had a mask on today, and she put this whole thing together, and I really had to tell her, I don't know what her name is. She wouldn't tell me where she lives, but she was so paranoid that, someone might find out who she is. So I spoke with her after the protest, and she had a, surgical mask on, like of the COVID era. She says, Rick, I'm wearing this mask because I don't want anybody. I said, where do you live? She's like very anonymous, She says, well, she wouldn't even tell me. But yeah, that's what she said, in the South. That was it, period. But Justin, he's a good man. Justin's from Seattle. He was kind of like the spokesperson for her. But I congratulated her because she did a great job. At first, I wasn't sure. When I showed up today, I mean, I am the ringmaster of these protests. But I had to kind of take a back seat, but that's okay. I had no problem with it. I took a back seat, and I says, well, let these guys do it. I just kind of sit back here and do my thing. And it really took a lot of pressure off me. But they really had the friends. If you're listening here tonight, I have to tell you something. This was well orchestrated. And I'm thinking, protesting in front of the White House? I mean, does Biden care? I mean, seriously, does anybody care? I mean, I was thinking maybe not, but yes, they do. It was kind of unique because usually when I do protests, they're in front of a Watchtower event. They're at a convention. They're at the world headquarters of Jehovah's Witnesses. And this is what I've been doing for 18 years. But to protest in front of the White House, I'm saying, geez, I mean, is anyone going to listen to this? I mean, who are we reaching? But, we have to reach more people than just Jehovah's Witnesses. We've got to reach the public. We've got to let them know what's going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. So at first I wasn't sure. I showed up. In fact, I was up at 4 o'clock this morning. I had a lot of gear to carry down there. So I loaded my car up and went down there. So they wanted me there by 9:30. So I was here about 9 and setting up. And about 10 o'clock, I'm saying, gee, that's when the protest was going to start. There was only about, I'd say, probably 35, 40 people. I said, oh, no. I thought the same old thing because I've invited people to protest and they never came. So I'm waiting. I'm thinking, geez, I just hope we can get more people because these guys really promoted it. I promoted it on the 6 Queens here, too. We had Justin on a couple of times, and he spoke about it. And I'm thinking, my goodness, if we could only get a couple of hundred, if we get 100 people. I told Justin when he was on, if we could get 100 people at that protest, I would be a happy camper. And I was so surprised, friends. So at 9:30, 10 o'clock, 35, 40 people, because I was counting. I'm counting people. And then about, I'd say, around 12 o'clock, I'm counting people. It got up to be about, it was about 45, 50. So I said, because I know the largest protest ever in the history of the Jehovah's Witnesses was 70, I believe it was 76 people. And of course, there was 2 people that did that. Joan Setner and her husband, Bill Setner, they protested at the Witnesses Now for Jesus. They took a bus from Pennsylvania up to Brooklyn, and they protested back in the 1970s, the late 70s, and they had about 70-something people. And then Bill Bowen, with the Silent Lambs organization, he got up to 73 people. So those were, in the 70s, were the highest protest amount of people ever. And when I was up in Warwick in 2017, we had 53 people. But today, friends, I have to tell you, over 200. When I gave the final number on the YouTube channel today, I mentioned I counted 153, 152, somewhere around there. It's hard to count people because you don't know if the Jehovah's Witness, ex-witnesses or not. So I'm trying to count, but I got up to 152. But all of a sudden, something remarkable happened. Right around 2 o'clock when they were kind of wrapping up, there were more people coming in. There was over 200 people. Now, you're probably saying, Rick, that's nothing. That's a pimple on a rhino's back. That's nothing. No, it is something. That means a lot to me. That means a lot to me because that speaks volumes. I can put a lot of legs on what happened here today. That means that people are now willing to come out and say, I have had enough of this. Now, this has not always been the way it's been. When I started protesting 18 years ago, they used to get mad at me. I had people write me, Rick, stop this. Stop doing this. That's a stupid thing to do. You're doing nothing but raising the persecution complex that the witnesses have. You do that, it's going to keep witnesses in because persecution. That no longer is the case. That is done and over with. Protests work. Protests work. And the reason why they work is because, look, I'll tell you what, countries have changed. Things have been done because of protests. Now, right there where we were today in front of the I say the Watchtower all the time because I have Watchtower in my mind, but in front of the White House, when we were in front of the White House back in the 1920s, women could not vote. Did you know that? Women could not vote in America. But a bunch of women got together and they protested right where we were today at Lafayette Park. In front of the White House, and they actually protested, and women had the right to vote after that protest. So protests can make a difference. Protests have changed countries. Protests have changed the very venue of something that was moving in the wrong direction, and a number of activists have come out and actually have made a difference. Well, we got a bunch of people here in the room here tonight. I'm in a hotel room, the Washington Plaza Hotel in downtown Washington, D.C., and we've got a bunch of people that came here, and we're going to interview some of them. We're going to get their feelings on the Watchtower and their feelings, of course, on the protest today. But I know a lot of people writing in, you would have liked to have been there in spirit, but I have to say that we, not only the Six Queens, at one point today, we had 152 people that were listening in live on my channel, but that's just this. There were some other people as well. Wally was there. We all know Wally does a great job, and some of the other people there as well were on their different YouTube networks and channels. But we had 252 listening in here today, so I think that's good. You know, I'm going to tell you something. Whenever you can get some of our broadcasts, we have got up to 300 people on a Saturday night, but if you get over 200 people listening in, that is a milestone. That's a very difficult thing to do, but to get them listening in live, and then what YouTube does when you do a live video, as we do, all of our programs are live, we can't edit them. So that's one of the problems. Like we just have problems with sound, but we're able to correct it. But if you do a YouTube video that's not live, you can play around with it and tweak it and what have you. But when you go live, it makes it more difficult, as you guys know. But anyways, yeah, I see people writing in. They wish they were there. We wish you were there too, but we were okay. The bases were covered today. When I hope the press can pick this up. I really hope the newspapers. But whenever I protested, the very first protest I ever went to and decided to do one enough to Watchtower, I did get press coverage. I called the local newspaper. They came down. They did it. But I've called the Boston Globe. I've called major newspapers. Hey, listen, you guys got to come down since then, and nobody had an interest in it. But when you get 100 people, in fact, in this case, 200 people, the press missed it. The press missed it. And I'm going to tell you something. Back in Boston, you roll the clocks back about 16 years ago, and remember Cardinal Law I mean, that's where the whole pedophilia problem broke out, was in Boston with the Catholic Church. And so many people missed that. But there was a newspaper that picked up on it, and they got a lot of, I believe they even won a Nobel Prize. I'm not sure, but they picked up on it where everybody else let it go. Well, I feel the same way now. Somebody would pick up on this, whether it's USA Today, whether it's New York Times, the Boston Globe, Chicago Tribune, or whatever it would be. They should pick up on this. That is meaningful. That shows that there's a lot of disturbed people in the Watchtower. That shows that more and more people are leaving it, and they really should come to grips with that and report it. Well, anyways, let's see. We're not going to put the phone on tonight because of issues with that. But if you're writing in here to YouTube and Facebook, we're on 10 different platforms right now. So, okay, so we got Gilbert. What's he saying here? Yes, Rick, said enough. So I was jumping on that train. You like that, Gilbert? Well, I'm glad you're listening in tonight. And we got a lot of people coming through right now. We're glad that you're on with us. Did you guys see this today? I mean, were you watching this? I think most of you folks were. I got so many emails today. I haven't even got to them. So if I haven't answered them, don't worry. I'll get to you. But, you know, I gave you my feelings. I gave you my feelings on the protest today. If you're going to rate it, in other words, if you're going to say 10 is the top, where would I put this protest? I mean, I don't know if I want to become the gauger of protesting, but I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna give this protest. I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna give it a 9 on a scale of 1 to 10. So you say, well, Rick, why don't you give it a 10? Well, why don't you give it? Why don't you go to a full 10? Well, there's a couple things. There's just a couple things that I would like to have had happen. I'm in the sign business, so I make signs. I had some beautiful signs that some people weren't even willing to pick up and hold. They'd rather hold a board sign with a magic marker. So I go to a 9. I had signs there that you didn't see. The signs could have made a big difference. I'm not beating up on anybody, but I'm telling you, they're holding up bag with a, not with a magic marker. I'm telling you, I had beautiful. I couldn't get full. I can't protest. Seriously, but we want to hear what you guys have to say. But in our room in Washington, D.C., and we do have people who like to say something. So I'm going to invite a good friend. Now, Randy at one time had a program here on the 6 screens. It was called Watchtower Behind Closed Doors. And a number of people have done that program. As a matter of fact, we've had 176 programs on the 6 screens since we started 18 years ago. So Randy did have a program, Watchtower Behind Closed Doors. I want Randy to come up here. He can sit in this seat right here. I want him to talk to you on what he felt about the protest. Come on up here, Randy. Right to the mic. You sit right there, right into the mic. Nice and close.
Well, I had some mixed feelings actually about coming.
Nice and close.
A little closer.
Yeah.
How's that?
It's good. Yeah.
That I took down my videos because well, y'all's audience too, but I didn't. I had mixed feelings about even coming, but instead I went ahead and drove 20-something from Oklahoma. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll wear a mask because I want my daughter to continue her shunning if she ever open. This protest today motivated me back. Now it's back. So anyway, what got me, I saw people coming up to me. Well, a lot of them don't know me because they've just come out recently, and I've had my channel down for quite a while now. But some of them said, "Hey, 2017, when I was coming out, you helped me a lot," and that touched me there. But that's what touched me the most. What touched me the most was people talking to speakers like Rick and some of the others. And I hope we name so we can have names. But what they brought out about the shunning, because we've lost ones to suicide because of shunning, or the child abuse that we've not all got friends to, or the loss of life because not taking blood. So people made this statement: who's going to speak for these people, these kids, or these who have passed away, if not us? So that's what, for me, it motivated me. Even though I thought I had hung this a little, I think I'm not going to just put everything back, but I'm going to start putting up like one video at a time every week. Not a new video, but one of my old ones back up there. And I don't know, that also, it was great to meeting new friends. You know, friends that will bring you plenty of pizza. And like we had tonight. I've got a friend from UK. He called a little bit ago, Steve Rose, and he was over here last September, this last month or so, but a year ago last, and we had a good holiday with him. Went over to and all that. Now I'm back in Oklahoma and Branson and that sort of. So you meet some of the best people that are ex-Jehovah's Witnesses because they love unconditionally. You know, not just if you do this. And anyway, I'll just keep. Oh no, I'm sorry. Got one more thing, Rick. One more quick thing. This is the main reason I come to. I know Rick only wanted me to talk about the protest, but here's something I brought Rick. It's an award to him. It says basically, Rick Farron, Apostate Man of the Century. And we put it up here. And the same, can't see. And also got one that says Susan Farron, Apostate Woman of the Century. So there you go.
Well, thank you, Randy. Good man. Well, there you go. I mean, I'm glad to be it. Like I said today, I'm glad Satan kicked me out of his organization. It's it's fun to be in a state. A lot of people say, "Well, don't use the word apostate." My goodness gracious, don't use that word. I've had people come on, and we had a man before. You remember, he used to come on with me, Joe Mason. He passed away, but he says, "Rick, I'm going to use the word freedom." So fine, and we have others too. But I want to tell you, by definition, an apostate, you could be an apostate of McDonald's. Maybe you don't like Max. Maybe you hate the quarter pounders. I'm not going to McDonald's. Then you're an apostate. Definition of McDonald's. So I don't know what word. I'm going to pick other words, but apostate, it doesn't necessarily have to have a negative connotation. It can have, to me, I'm glad that I'm not going along with the Watchtower teachings, because when I was fellowship in 2005, and they asked me in the judicial hearing, we had 4 elders there. So they said, "Rick, we consider you an apostate." I said, "I understand that. I do. I get it. By definition, I'm an apostate." So I said, "Can you give me the definition of an apostate?" Not one of those 4 elders knew. I said, just tell me what an apostate is. It's in the Shepherd book, and I'll read it to you. Just four of you fellows should know. If I'm being disfellowship for apostasy, you should know what that is. I mean, that's your job to know what that is. So tell me, what is it? Not one of them could answer what apostate. I says, I'll read it to you right from the flock book. An apostate is one that stands away from the teachings the watch. You want to go with that? I am that, because I no longer believe in it. I mean, I knew that I was going to be disfellowship, but I wanted to get it recorded. I wanted to go through the motions. I didn't care. I really, really didn't care. But I just wanted to see how they would handle it. And those elders, they talk a good game, but they really do not know the facts. You know, when the protests were all over, I talked to a man. He was a good man. He's an ex-Jehovah's Witness. And he said, you know, Rick, he said, there were 3 people here. Did you see them? They were wearing masks. I said, I did see those guys. He says, well, he says, those were PIMOs. He says, those people were wearing masks because they don't want anyone to see them. And they were afraid that maybe the relatives or friends would see them. They'd be shunned. That really struck my fancy. I can put a lot of legs on that. And if you're listening today, just take a second and think, why can I put legs on 3 men showing up in a mask that are PIMOs? How many PIMOs are out there? I mean, 1,000, way more than that. How about 250,000? How about 500,000? How about 1 million? Now, the witnesses claim that they have 8.5 million Jehovah's Witnesses. I have a hard time believing it, but let's just go with the figures. I'm willing to step out here tonight and tell you that maybe upwards of 50% are not going along with it. Now, let me tell you what happened this week. I'm very excited about this. I left Massachusetts on Sunday. I went down to see my father. He's 100 years old. He lives in Pennsylvania, Reading, Pennsylvania area. So while there, he lived a witness, and I call it. This is very embedded with Jehovah's Witnesses. It's most of my family, my sister, my grandchildren, my nieces, my nephews. My sister and her husband, who are staunch Jehovah's Witnesses, talked to me for the first time. They talked to me for the first time. And that's one. And I got 50 relatives in Pennsylvania alone that have just rejected me. And I was really good friends with them. Talked to me for the first time this week, but it doesn't stop there. Also, I have a sister, I have a clan. I have these Jehovah's Witness clans that are part of my family that lives up in Northern New Hampshire on the Canadian border. And they talked to me. Her and her husband talked to me the other day for the first time.
Why?
Why? Well, because I believe that they're starting to see how great this organization is. They haven't talked to me for 20 years. Let me check my phone here. I'm going to get this here right now. Yes, what Joy? Hello, Thomas.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Thomas. I mean, we're on the air. Are you listening?
You get on. I got the protest for today, but I can't get you live right now.
Well, we're live right now. Go on my Facebook page or on YouTube. We're on 10 different platforms.
Facebook page or
Yep, Facebook or the YouTube. Yeah, Rick Ferrin Watchtower. Just put it in Rick Ferrin Watchtower live and you'll get it. Okay, Thomas?
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Try that.
Yep. So anyways, so that was a good thing that my sister, 2 sisters, talked to me. Plus, in the last year, I've had 3 very close relatives, I can't say who, but have contacted me. And they see us here on YouTube. So is that good news or what? I mean, when you think about it. So that's why I have hope. So, you know, people say, does this all make a difference? Now, as I mentioned here, and I want to shout out to all the people. Wally was there today. We all love his videos. Mike and Kim, they do a great job. Even John Sheet is over, even though he's had some issues and what have you, he does a great job explaining things. He's a great narrative person. He knows how to explain things really well. So, you know, everyone's making a difference. And this isn't some type of a competition. Geez, anybody, the way that I look at it, anybody that exposes the Watchtower is a friend of mine. You're a brother of mine. You don't have to be a Christian. You're an ally. All right. We're all fighting against this organization. And the more people that speak up about it, the better we're going to be. Absolutely. So we had those 3 guys today, and my mind is going a million miles an hour. I'm just trying to put some numbers together in my head. How many PIMOs are there? Like I just told you, I'm thinking there could be upwards of maybe half. Now you might say, Rick, come on, take the rose-colored glasses off. But I'm thinking there could be half of the Jehovah's Witnesses that don't believe this anymore. I think the Watchtower knows it. I think they know it. And I believe they're starting to change all of these policies to try to keep people in. Just like recently in the last couple of weeks here. No more time. Don't report any time. You can't believe the amount of people that wrote to me and gave me information about their kingdom halls and the no people showing up for service. It's just, and not only that, this isn't supposed to start till November, but the witnesses gave up already in October. They're not even showing up at service. If you come out and say, don't go out in service, you don't have to report time. Would you do it? I wouldn't do it. Yeah. Still, well, that's exactly what's going on. So listen, we all have such a good reason to be happy, don't we? I mean, let's not get discouraged. We have a really good reason to be happy, because the thing is, this is an evil organization. And, people write, and I'm sure you folks as well have heard it as well. Well, why do we even bother? Just let it go. Some of us can't. Some of us really, really can't. Now, there's many people that have left the Watchtower. They go on. They never say a thing. That's okay. I have relatives and friends that have done that, and I don't hold them hostage. But some of us become activists. And what is it? Well, I don't know what it is. I don't think it's mental illness. I know the Watchtower says that. But I think what it is, I think the reason, if you really feel passion about something, and so many listening to this program tonight, as well as people in the room here tonight, Fran and Joe, for example, those guys have passion. If there's people have passion and commitment, and I get from Fran and Joe here shortly. If you have passion and commitment, there is no boundaries. You're willing to just let loose and let it happen. And it's going to help people, even though many people say, that doesn't do any good. It really doesn't, Rick. Get over it. Get off of this program. Don't bother with it. I don't believe in that one bit. Well, let's bring somebody else up here. I'm going to bring Joe first. Now, Joe was there today. I want to tell you something. When I first met Joe, it was about a year ago, actually more than a year ago, because he came out a year ago in December, so almost years, Joe. But he would listen into the 6 screens. What I do, I'm like you've heard about scouts in baseball, how you'll send scouts out to try to find good hitters, pitches. Well, whenever I find people coming on the 6 screens and I hear what they have to say, I'm like a scout. I say, man, those guys are pretty darn good. Those guys should have a program here on the 6 screens, and I'm glad I have it. So that's exactly what I felt. And then these guys now have a hit program here on the 6 screens. They do very, very good. So I'm going to bring Joe up here, and I want Joe to explain to us what he felt today. So here is Joe Garino.
Well, I have to admit, I deserve all the credit, because Fran was the first one to speak up and want to call in. And I'm saying, I don't think we should. I really don't think so. And Fran says, okay, you go ahead. You can do it. If you want to do it, you go ahead and do it. And it was so opportune at the time, because someone else hadn't shown up, and we were a fill-in, and that was something that seemed to work at the time. It felt really good being able to share our story. And as far as the protest today, to get right to the point of the protest today, as much a protest it really was a demonstration of the love that it among the one, call them apostates, but the friends that are coming out and showing their love for each other, and just proving how false it is that apostates' lives just spin out of control and go to hatred. It's so untrue. It's just so untrue. So really, it was more of an outpouring of love for each other and for the others who are left in and who are, we call them PIMO, physically in, mentally out. Ones who, for many good reasons, just simply aren't ready to come out. See, no one gets involved with this organization, Watchtower, without losing something. It doesn't matter what you try to do, you will lose something. And the biggest challenge is to figure out what you really value most, and then to develop a strategy, a plan for how you're going to minimize your losses. And that's so important. They say when a person been lied to, so they either become a liar, just like they've been lied to, or they speak truth. And so obviously seeing a really big separation of people of what's going on, and we're these people called apostates are truth seekers, really truth seekers, and proving that they love in a way that they didn't experience love in that organization. It's something that is it was shown to. It was a protest. Yes, it was a protest, but it was just as much an opportunity to prove who we are, and we're not hateful people. We're loving people, and we seek to draw and invite and the others who are in that organization to come out. One of the friends, PIMO, who's stuck in that organization, and his relationships in there that they don't want to lose, and I won't mention names or anything to protect them, but they're not young and they don't want to lose some precious things to them. The conversations we have is about why someone chooses to wake up, and the saying is they haven't yet smelled the coffee. They need to smell the coffee. And it's an interesting point because when we're sleeping, I don't want to wake up. I'm down. I'm happy. Down. But comes a point where you're no longer comfortable sleeping, but yet you're still down. But there's something out there that might attract, and it's the smell of coffee. Or maybe it's the light streaming through the window, the sun. Or maybe it's the sound of bacon and the smell of toast or something. The dog running around, the sounds of your little children or whatever that are getting in trouble, whatever that gets you up, because you may be put away, but you may not be able to get up. And the point is, I think that we're going to show them is to get up, not just to wake up, but get up, because it's very beautiful that we experienced today. It wasn't just a protest, Rick. I'll say it to Rick. It was a protest. It was an opportunity to prove who and Watchtower how much they distort who we are, and that's equally as powerful. Truly appreciate how well you have worked so hard at that, and the the organizers of this protest have done. Wonderful opportunity for us all. We appreciate that. We really do. I have to give so much more credit to my wife for that.
She's going to be next.
Okay, she's going to be next. And I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Well, I just got the word from one caller that that's why I went down to the front desk. They have my name spelled wrong at the front desk. So Feronsky or something like that. So he said, that's not my name. I says, the girl, she was a foreign girl. I says, I think she took my name wrong. So people have been showing up at the desk down there and, you know, they don't know who I am. So if you're listening on YouTube right now, thank you, Apostasy Babe, for telling me that. So if you're listening on YouTube right now, take a U can come back to the Washington Plaza Hotel and sail. We got 7 pizzas. We got 7 pizzas. So we're on 713. 713. So I'm sorry, but that's not my fault. They had the wrong name, so came up with that. So anyways, we're looking forward to you coming, and I think there will still be some more coming. So don't be disappointed. Come on back if you're listening to the broadcast and come back. In the meantime, so you just heard from Joe Garino. Is a man and a half, and he does a great job on the program, but he's a half as well. And so her name is Fran, and she wants to say hello to you too.
Hi, everyone. I was fixing my hair. Yes, it was a wonderful protest. It was our test. We were so privileged to be able to be there. We drove 6.5 hours on Monday, spent the night. So Monday when we there, we took a walk by the house because we had no idea what to expect. So it was very, very, very nice today. I can only say positive things about it. Like Rick said, we got there about 9 o'clock. It was, you know, quiet. They were set up. They were getting the banners, and Justin was there, and people started to stream by little. There were so many that we recognized and so many that recognized us. They said, "Oh, Joe and Fran, we're so happy to see you." And it's like, oh my goodness, you know, it's like we're just normal people like you are. But anyway, one of the things that I noticed, all the different people, I tried to ask them where they were from because I knew that, you know, they were coming from all over. So the furthest one that I talked to, maybe some others found someone else, but we met Annette from Germany. She came all the way from Germany to this protest specifically. We met Vicky from the UK, and she specifically came. There were friends from Canada, people from California, Oregon, Washington. We've got friends right here from Oklahoma. And we saw my biggest surprise, and I just kind of wondered in the back of my mind if Selena Verloma was going to be there. And in the afternoon, I looked up and I look over, and there she is, and she caught my eyes, and we ran to each other because we've talked to each other, and we just hugged each other for the longest time. And I said, Selena, you've got to speak. The speakers there were already notified ahead of time that they were going to speak. And the people that organized it, they kind of went over a little script for them, what they were going to say. But at the end, Justin said, if anyone wants to say a few words, you know, come on up. I said, Selena, you got to go up there. So we went over to Justin and, you know, and they said yes, and they wanted to know what she was going to talk about. And then, if possible, Joe and I would like to say a few words. So we did. We were glad to be able to do that. Also, Stephen Lett's niece, Brandy, was there. And Brandy's brother, Stephen, unfortunately, his life because of the atrocities of the Watchtower, and she was there. it was well represented. That was the most impressive thing for me, were the people that were there, the strong sense of, hold on just a second, I wrote it down. The strong energy that was there. You feel it from everyone. If we have, it was fun going to the assembly or convention, and we didn't want to leave. This was a million times better than any kind of assembly. The other big thing that I noticed is that in power, women were submissive, and they had to just know if they had any questions, go to your husband, talk to your husband. Your husband will straighten you out. And the women that spoke had so much energy. One of them that comes to mind is Rita. Rita was she was in an abusive relationship, and she lost her child as a result. But her voice today, and other women were there, really out. And I'm so thankful that we ex-Jehovah's Witness sisters have a voice. It's just remarkable, because we're the mothers, daughters, and we're the ones that really can feel from the shunning, from maybe losing someone with a blood transfusion, things like that. The CSA, they talked a lot about CSA and about the shunning. Those were the big things. People came up and they gave their own experiences. Oh, I did want to, can I have my phone, please? There was someone that texted me, and I just wanted to read this. I thought it was so good. Let me just get to it.
I thought you was asking for a head covering.
No head covering. Here we go. Okay. So she said, and this ex-sister is from California. Glad you made it there. Glad you spoke up. If you get a chance to organizers of the, please let them know we indignate. Everything went favorable. And there was one thing Justin stressed, is that it be dignified and peace. Everyone was. It was a great accomplishment for all activists. Many in the past who died in oppression because they could not find a platform to sing, caused by Watchtower in a public venue. There were several over the years. For their sake, this was a great landmark of progress in exposing this religious cartel. So that's what she wrote. And also, it reminded me that Justin, in the beginning, he asked for silence. Just remember the ones that died, the ones that were, abused. So I thought that was really good. And I hope we have more of these protests. I wish that they would have them in more cities, more people would come to. And I'm so thankful that Joe and I were able to make this remarkable historical protest. So thank you.
Well, Fran, you missed your calling. You should have been a movie critic. I mean, really, you really were able to nail that down. Boy, a lot of good things you mentioned got me thinking. So I saw Selena Vertolomo. I couldn't believe it. I didn't think she liked me. I really didn't. But I came up and, hi, and Rick, I wanted to meet you. But she said her mother doesn't like me. But that's okay. She says, but she likes me. But I never really picked on her. And you remember, she you molested. I mean, I've talked to so many people in the Watchtower that were. She said, well, Rick, what do you have Toni Morris, blowing out the match? and that meant the code. She said that the code that was to Watchtower hit people to go burn her house down. I says, I have a hard time, but you know, I don't totally disbelieve it, but I just you on it because people question me. They said, Rick, it's your job to ask questions. But I'll tell you, after the program, and I don't know if anybody other than Mom, and she, you know, she can views. And then we would talk about her. The biggest thing, what we do on the 6 screens on Saturday night is the biggest not only in the Watchtower, and then Selena called in too. Really, I don't how that happened because in states, but she was there today and she gave me a so I feel I says, you know, we're not enemies, Selena, but you know, I'm sometimes I have to ask you questions, but she understood that. It was so Fran from you said you encouraged her to get up there and talk. She wasn't scheduled. Huh? Very good. Yeah. Boy, I'll tell you. You know what it is? I have to say that Reddit people going on here too because I see it was put up on Reddit today. And the screens and all that. The Reddit crowd is not. You know, I hate to sound negative, but the people on Reddit, it's a different. It's a different. And a lot of young ones are on there. And the demographics of people listening to 6 screens come in from. Most people from New York, that was 6 screens because I can look at the analytics. And the second biggest city is London, England. They a lot of people in the UK. They listen to the 6 screen like a friend. Oh, you're listening, Steve. But it's amazing that we get to meet some of these people in person. And when I saw she was she didn't. It was very good. So it was very peaceful and done very, very well. Well, we've got more here. We're here in Washington, D.C. We are at Plaza, the Washington Plaza Hotel. And we had a great day today, but we have more people who want to speak. So we do have one from New Jersey. He was a friend of Friends. In fact, who tried to sell you a refrigerator? Was it Fred?
Raymond Fran.
Raymond Franz.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the one that wrote the book, the Crisis of Conscience. So now, can I use your name or no?
Yes. Larry, the state of New Jersey.
From the great state of New Jersey. Now, Larry, you don't want to be seen.
I'm a little for show.
All right, have it. Well, I'm going to put this mic over here. Come close to the mic, okay? Come close to the mic. Now, speak right in there. You tell the people what did you observe today, Larry?
Yes, thank you, Brother Farron. I wanted to mention four.
Speak closer.
It's breaking up. The feed is being really choppy, Jonathan.
What's happening?
The feed is really choppy.
The feed is choppy.
The sound,
Oh, I see it.
Jonathan's
You got a job offer from Rutherford. Can you hear me now?
Is that right? Yeah. I think I hear me good now. In fact, Chrissy, if you can hear me, can someone please see if you guys can hear me well? I'm trying to make some sound adjustments. You can't hear. Well, see what it is, people that
It's frozen completely. The picture.
who is that?
Jonathan in California.
Pictures was
Can someone tell me they can't hear? Huh? It shows here we got people that obviously sometimes it can be on their part, but people it's bad. I mean, okay, let's go with the sound. The sound is okay. It could be on your end, folks. So let's just do this. Larry, go ahead. Tell us your story.
Oh, Brother Farron,
Pass it.
I wanted to just cover things. One, I wanted to give my feelings of the protest itself. And two, I wanted to go over the names of 4 different men. This order: Charlie Russell, Joe Rutherford, Fred Franz, and the Pied Piper. Let me start on number 1 here. I drove here to Washington all the way from New Jersey. I thought I was a hero coming that distance, but I was very impressed to see people here from California, Florida, and I guess England and so on. So that was very impressive. I agree with you. I would give it on a scale of 1 through 10, I would definitely give it a 9. If only Kim and Mikey were here and Lloyd Evans and a couple other ones, then it would be a 10. But when I was driving here to the protest, I had negative feelings about it. I thought that maybe it wouldn't be well organized, maybe it would be poorly run, maybe it would be very poorly attended, and maybe there wouldn't be hardly any, great YouTube stars. I was much impressed as a number of YouTube stars here, as has already been mentioned, and also I find that the people were very impressive at this protest. They were honest. They were vigorous people, enthusiastic. They were just happy to be there and happy to speak. So part of it was a protest, yes, but another part of it was like a community get-together where you can talk about things and feel better about yourself just by talking. So it was excellent. It was well worth coming. Much, much better than I expected it to be. Something that I think can help and assist people to escape the clutches of this cult. If the Russell, he was just a simple 19th century religious crackpot and a quack. He was a high school dropout. He had no education in biblical literature and Hebrew and Greek and so on. He believed in the pyramids and studying the Great Pyramid of Egypt and trying to relate that to the Bible. Total quackery. He also believed in miracle wheat. See, this is what the Jehovah's Witnesses really have done for them. They try to hide this. Second, Joe Rutherford, a tyrant, an alcoholic, and a drunk in that order. He had during the Great Depression, when poverty was rampant, he lived in a marvelous, wonderful mission in Southern California, best series. He had, during that time, he had not one, but two luxury Cadillacs. I believe they're either 12 or 16 cylinder Cadillacs. So I think he really, as a tyrant, people were afraid of him. I feel he really got over on the Bible students at that time. The third man, Fran. What a he was. He was cuckoo for cocoa puffs. Finally, I want to not throw in, since I'm honest, let me throw in a good word about Ren Franz, who I personally knew. He was, and I was looking, I needed to buy a refrigerator for my room. He had one posted up for sale. I went over to his, Ray and Cynthia were there, invited me in. I ended up buying the refrigerator for my room for $80. But I said, hey, Cynthia spoke up and says, well, whenever it turns on periodically, it makes a small humming sound, a small like vibration sound. And when Ray is studying, he concentrates so hard that bothers him. He can't stand that noise. That's the kind of man Ray Franz was. Also, guess what? At Bethel, you had dish duty. Higher ups at Bethel were from it. Never had Nor and Fred Franz and definitely Harlan. They were too important, too duty. I personally saw down there doing the dish duty. Raymond Franz, he would never miss it. He would never skip it. He never thought he was too important to do dish duty. So these two things about Raymond Franz, the way he could, his intelligence, the way he could concentrate, and then his humility to be right there with even the new boys doing the dish duty. What does it tell you about this man? It tells you, what a very good soul he was, and it tells you how dirty he's done by the government, by Jehovah's. Absolutely. Finally, let me wrap up with one fellow man I want to speak about, and that is the Piper. Now, what about the Pied Piper, Brother Fran? The Pied Piper was a very handsome-looking guy. He was young, handsome, well-built. He wore a beautiful, fancy, colorful costume. He had a wonderful personality. He had beautiful green eyes with a glint in his eyes. And he played the flute, and he would dance around and sing through these different villages and not. And who would he attract? He attracted the believable young children, and he wonderful followers, and they were mesmerized by him. He said, "Follow me," and he played his beautiful tune on the flute. He said, "Everything's going to be wonderful. I'm going to lead you to this new land." And he says, you'll be able to eat cake and candy and cookies all you want. You have bedtime anymore. Don't listen to mama. The kids love, and all these kids, all these gullible young children, followed the very desirable song of the Pied Piper. And he led them away, He led them over a cliff to their destruction.
Well, I think what you're doing there, Larry, is me making an announcement. Well, that's Larry, and he doesn't want to be seen. Of course, there were people there today, but not as many as I didn't want to be seen. I had some masks with me. I have to give anybody. I can remember protests I had about 6 years ago. I had to give a number of people masks. They not want to be seen, but that was good today. The number of people, only a few wearing masks, but very good. Thank you, Larry. I like that Cocoa Puffs.
My pleasure.
Where'd you come up with that, man?
I knew him quite well at Bethel. He knew me. I spoke to him a number of times. We would have every Wednesday night. We would have STEAM sessions where we could ask him Bible questions and so on. And we were all, like mesmerized by this real celebrity of Jehovah's Witnesses. However, all the crazy doctrine, Bible, and ideas that he came up with, Babylon the Great, and all kinds of prophecies and so on. And when he gives talks at the convention and so on, what would the witnesses say about his talks? The information he was giving, they'd say, "Oh, this Fran is so deep. Oh, he's really hard to follow. I'm trying so hard. I have my Bible out, and I'm trying to follow along and see what he's trying. I just missed the point. I can't relate the connection." So it wasn't the fact that it wasn't that his explanations and teachings were so deep. It's the fact that
Well, that's probably one of the reasons. And do here.
One of my friend California just said that the quality is low, but he said cook for Cocoa Puffs, but audio is bad too.
All right, what we're gonna do, give us a look here. I'm gonna change this microphone. It could be a bad wire on there, so moving around and what have you. So I'm gonna change the microphone. That makes a difference. So here with us, just give me a second. Handheld microphone. Now this is a $150 microphone right here. This cost me $20, 18 years. Sometimes it's better. Yeah. Sometimes it's better. So let's try it. If this microphone is going to be a little bit better. So let me go into my settings here. Just give us a second, and we'll see if we can't get this straightened out. Okay, I believe that's the one right there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 testing. All right. Does look like 2, 3 testing. 1, 2, 3 testing. Let's go with this microphone. Let's put the blue ESC here. I'm not happy with this microphone. I'm not. It doesn't work that great, but we do have this other one working better. Hopefully you guys will be able to hear me a little bit better. Let's get this thing out of the way. All right. 1, 2, 3 testing. And that'll cure up the sound problem for us. All right, let's take a look and see what's going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. You were on the 6 screens telling us, and we had it tonight. And what we're doing tonight is we're talking about the protest. Did you hear the protest? Well, the big president of Washington, the White House, in Washington, D.C., and we had 200 people plus. Remarkable. That's amazing. That broke a record. So if you're just coming in, that talking, we have some people that went to protest, and we're having them talk a little bit and what they thought about it. But we do not have it tonight. So maybe we could open them up. I'm thinking open them up if you guys talk. I mean, you guys probably have up. So I'm going to put a number up on the board. You can go on my cell phone. The sound might not be perfect, but think we'll get an idea of what people are saying. Let me just put my number up here. So if you're listening on YouTube, radio line is not up tonight. Other than that, we'll have a number of people on that would speak up. So if you're listening on YouTube, let's see if we can't get you to onto the program. This is the number, and if you guys have anything that you'd like to say, call. Well, actually, I'm going to give you another number. Don't call that number. I'm going to have you call my cell phone number. Okay? Let me just get. And I think we can probably get some calls coming in because you guys probably want to say something. So let's see if we can't get that up here right now. My number is.
Fran said she's getting the new microphone is doing much better. Yes, much.
Oh. Well, I guess I'll have to start all over again.
Oh, that's your. Did we answer that right? Somebody might be down at the level.
Is that your phone? My phone? Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, I'm going. All right. So we got that. Here's the new one. Here is the new. All right, call that number right there. Call that number right there. I think some more people are down in the lobby here wanting to come out, so we'll see what happens. But if you're listening in to our program tonight, dial that number right there. It's not a normal number.
There's somebody else coming up.
Is okay. So dial that number right now, 508-72-5599. There's some more people coming up that want to as well. So if you want to talk, dial that number, and we'll see. We do have more people. We do have Father is here with us, and we're going to bring her up, and I want to get her perspective. And she always has a nice smile. She's a musician of the highest order.
Oh no, I'm not.
No,
I'm not a musician. I'm the comedian and the seamstress.
Well, you take up you after your pop. Yeah. All right. So let her talk here right now. Talk to the microphone and see what you think of the protest.
Hello, everybody. I got so busy with my regular life. When I did a lot of activism. I did a little, but I've gotten so busy that I don't watch it as much. But I always love the camaraderie of meeting my fellow ex-witnesses and visiting. And so I almost just thought about going and sightseeing today, but I thought, no, I have to go to the protest. But one thing, we had it at the White House, and I think made it more historical, but also more comfortable, because I think a lot of the reasons people don't want to come to the protest is because they're in front of the Kingdom Halls. We don't want to have this confrontation, and so when we're there in front of the White House, we're just having our voices be heard to the people who can make the changes for us, the lawmakers who can help us get these tax exempt things away from them so that we can get shunned. If they're getting people, and if somebody does me bad, and my dad agrees, we talk about this. If somebody does me bad, and I don't want to have to do with that person, I don't want to talk to that person, and a personal decision, that's one thing. It's another thing for a group of people or a organization or a board or whatever to tell me that I can't talk to my family, then that is wrong. If they feel like I've hurt them and they probably don't want to talk to me, but the reason they're talking to us is because they're being told to and they're scared. And the shunning, the people that affect, I want to share a story with everybody, because on my way up here, I have a friend who I've really not been in touch with for probably almost 2.5, 3 years. And out of the blue, on the way up here 2 days ago, got a call from him. His whole family is shunning him. He's going through a really hard time with just personal things, and he's watching, Jonathan, and it's really hard to see the effects of shunning like that. And that's kind of, I think, one of the reasons I decided to go ahead and come to the protest, to be a voice for him, because I can see, talking to him and being a friend, when everybody is shunning. His family is shunning him. You know, he has a couple of friends that he has made outside, but really feeling him all alone from people that should be constant in your life. It's just terrible. And so I wanted to come and be a voice for him to tell people that this shunning your family, we love our families. I have my sister shuns me and shunned my mom and dad, and we love her and we always will. And so I just feel like this was a way to get this point across to people. And I noticed so many people that were walking by, seeing our signs. These were people that were just coming to tour the White House. This was young people, like high school students, and they were looking over, like, what is going on? These are the young people who can make the changes in the future for our government and for our what's happened to us to stop this abuse. They were noticing, they were listening. I saw people who were there waiting, maybe walk by and then, wait, hey, what's this all about? And turning around and looking at our signs and paying attention to what was being said. So that's one thing. And asking us, coming up, hey, I was holding a sign that says Watchtower breaks up families. And they come up and said, hey, what does this mean? What is it? Watchtower, that's Jehovah's Witness organization. That's their corporate organization. And I can testify. My sister does not talk to me. I have nephews. My parents have never met their grandchildren. And they're just strangers who are, and look like maybe important people. We don't know who is walking by. They're professionally in suits. Here, you know, the nation's capital. So we can have an impact. And one of the other things that I wanted to bring out too is we were walking to, it was awesome. We kind of laughed and said, it's almost like the assembly. After the assembly, we're all visiting with each other and we're all talking and hugging and meeting new friends. And we're like, well, where are we going to go eat? And we're walking to go eat and we get approached by a couple. And the lady is from, I don't know where she lives now, but she is from Brazil. They were here for the protest and they missed it. They're like, where's it at? Where are you the protest? They missed it. But she's filming a documentary and she said, interview you. And her story, I wish I didn't try to find it, but she interviews it and we could tell that it was personal for her because we asked her, were you a witness? And she said, I want to interview you. And we didn't know what to expect. We were a little, you know, some of the people, other people were more skeptical. I'll tell my story to anybody I meet on the street. It doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt. It's not going to make things any worse. So she says, can I interview you? And we said, yeah. She said, well, what did you think of the protest? And then she hands us a photo album. And she says, I want you to flip through this photo album and describe to me your feelings. And as we flip through, we can see, obviously, this is witness pictures. This is pictures of people out in service. This is pictures of these pictures are from Brazil. So it's not the same, like, building structures, but you can tell this is building of kingdom halls, of things like that. And these are all these pictures, and they're old pictures. And we were asking her, like, oh, I said, here's what I see. I see happy people. I see friends. This looks like my pictures of my friends. But I know from when you told us that you've left the witnesses that this is probably was your friends too and your family, and they're probably not talking to you right now. And that's why you're here. So, you know, anything that we can do to get people to stop. And my thing is the people that are there wearing the mask, that's one step. So if people can keep doing that, and if people can stop shunning, and I always encourage people, don't wait for them to stop shunning you. Don't even let the shunning have an impact. Just because they shun you doesn't mean you have to participate. If I see somebody that I know, it's hard because nobody wants to be rejected. But if I see somebody I know in the store and I think that, hey, maybe they're going to shun me because they think I'm an apostate, I'm going to go talk to them and be friendly anyway. Because shunning, if they want to do it, it's on them. It's not on me. So that's what I encourage everybody to do the same. If your family is not talking to you, go talk to them and tell them you love them. And if they don't talk to you, what have you lost? You're already not talking to them as it is. But don't let that shunning have power over you, because it doesn't. It only has power if you let it. So I'm shaky. My voice is shaky because I get passionate and I get excited. But I love all the people I met. I love my friends. And you know, even if your family is shunning, here's another thing I wanted to share. That Kayla, there was a girl there, and she said, don't give up. Because I was in the organization, and my dad left first, and I was shunning him, really hardcore shunning. And guess what? Here I'm today at the protest, and I'm out. So don't give up, even with people that you would think would never come around. So I don't know, that's all.
Wow. Well, that's okay. Don't worry about that.
I wrote it, good mark.
You did a good job. You did a good job. Well, I'll tell you, you should run for office. I mean, really, boy, you do well. Boy, passion, commitment. I like that. So anyway, listening to the Sixth Queen, run the telenetwork right now. Now, if you wanted to come here, if you're a witness and you were protesting today, you'd like to come over with us, we're here at the Washington Plaza Motel, and we're going to come and be with our team. Want to come over if you're listening to the broadcast, some of the people hanging out in the restaurants right now, and we'll come here with us. And, you know, I'm hearing all the people talking about what went on at the protest day. Justin, something that caught my attention. Justin said that when you get on Reddit and some of these forums, all you're really basically doing is preaching to the choir, so to speak. You're just talking to people that are, I have to disagree a little bit. I do have to disagree a little bit. There are people, I've had a number of relatives, as I was telling the people here earlier, that have come out listening to this program, and they've called me. I had a call. Rick, I saw the program, and she was a staunch Jehovah's, and I saw the program, I started listening, and I came, and I had a daughter. I can't say who it was, but she said the same thing, and my grandson said the same. So Jehovah's Witnesses are watching this. So some think, well, we're just talking to other witnesses and left like us, but no, this active witness listening too. So that's a good thing. And I'm still, in fact, I'll tell you what, did you ever get an adrenaline rush? Did you ever just feel good all over for some reason? That's how I feel tonight. I mean, it's like, in fact, I couldn't sleep last night. I was so excited. It's like, you know, it was one of the biggest events. I was up at 3 o'clock. I couldn't get back. I was so excited to get down there and do this. Were you excited? I mean, I'm sure guys listening online were kind of excited. You were thinking that, geez, what this is going to be like. But I'm so happy even tonight. Well, anyways, we do have another lady here. No, no. You don't have to talk about the protest. I know. You're so exuberant, Susan.
I lost my Susan. Come on.
Susan.
Sorry, guys, I lost my vote.
I'm going to bring Fran back on.
Just a real.
You just say whatever you want to say, Fran, okay? The microphone's yours, okay?
I was an actor, Jada. Listening.
Is that right? Yeah.
So Joe and I are going to be on the radio station tomorrow morning, WIBX, in Utica, New York. We're going to do it from our hotel room. So it'll be on at 7:15 a.m. That's Eastern Standard Time with Bill Keeler. Now, a little bit of background. In March, when we decided to January, we disassociated, and we had talked to Bill back and forth. He's a local radio station that we know, and we told him, we went to the lawyer, and the lawyer said, get in touch with Bill. You really got to go on this program. We said, no, we're not ready. We don't want our kids to hear about it. So right after that bombing in Germany, we said to Bill, did you hear about that? And he said, yes. He said, are you ready to come on now? And I said, yes, we are. And we had disassociated, or thinking of it. We went on, we did about a half-hour program, question and answer. He just did it on the phone. And he couldn't believe that our own children were shunning us. He had never heard of that. About a month or two ago, he interviewed an elder from the congregation that we were at. This elder did not want to answer any questions about the shunning. He said, it's not in my script. My pay scale doesn't allow me to. He was making all these stupid remarks. We know him. And matter of fact, one of our meetups, his sister comes to our meetup. this guy, this video, and the XJW community went viral. His name is Patrick. Well, Patrick. Anyway, it'll come to, but if you just go, I know, heard it, and it went viral. Can't think of this, but anyway, Patrick DeBono, an elder, and he would not go, he would not say anything. All he did was a big PR, how great the Watchtower is, how great, you know, it is. We have 2 meetings and doing the cart witnessing. It was all PR, and it was terrible. But anyway, we're going to be on, tomorrow morning, we're going to be on WIBX. Yeah, you can get that on YouTube also.
What's that actually?
It's WIBX. It's the Bill Keeler Show. It's from Utica, North Road. And yeah, Bill Keeler, WIBX, 7:15 Eastern Standard Time.
Tomorrow
Morning we'll be on. We're going to be talking about the protest. So Bill's been a really good support for us, and we really appreciate him. Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you what, in fact, Fran and Joe caught my attention. Give everything out of the corner. I saw Fran and Joe with their postcards. And man, they're not afraid to, these are great salespeople. I mean, they're not afraid to talk to anybody. And I said, look at those guys, they're going at it. They want everyone to know. And that's what we all should be doing. We should all be, I know one thing that I try to do, I try to tell everybody how evil the Watchtower is in the market basket I go to. I try to talk to everybody and let the world know what the Jehovah's Witnesses are hiding behind. What we do, man here that was at the protest today, he came all the way up from St. Augustine, Florida. Oh, wow. So Jay wants to just, what I want you to do is come up here and just tell the people what you observed today. Tell them a little about yourself. Let people know what you feel about the Watchtower, Jay. All right? Speak right into the mic so people can hear you. Thank you. All right. There you go. Sit right there. Thank you. Yep.
Well, I made it. Another journey, just to get inside. Just to get inside the building. That's their mission. Wow.
You did it. Pick that mic right up and put it right in front of your face. There you go.
All right.
Bring it right on.
Okay.
Okay.
So I didn't think I would be here talking with anyone. I thought that I would just show up and, you know, just be another person in the crowd.
Well, right now you have thousands of people watching.
Okay. So what got me to this point, and the plainest way to say it was the older body that I dealt with in the back room of God's house. Early 2020. I went to these men because I trusted them, because I was trying to be like them. At this particular time, I was a single father raising my daughter. She was 8 years old I was raising her on my own for 3 years already. In their eyes, I sinned, so I came according to the scriptures, the Watchtower, just everything they teach from the stage. I sinned. So it came to the elder. That had a daughter that was my same age as my daughter, and a son that was a little bit younger. And I told him what I did in his front yard, leaning on my 91 Mazda Miata with the lights flipped up. And, I felt like I was talking to my best friend. I felt like I could tell him anything. And looking at it now, I feel like I told him too much. Because after I told him what I did, which, you know, in his eyes and Jehovah's Witness eyes, it's a sin, you know. I had relations with my girlfriend, who is now my fiance, who we are going to be married soon, who has her own daughter, who is a year younger than my daughter, who I treat and raise like she's my own daughter and love her just as much. And her name is Becca, and she is awesome. And it's a pleasure to raise her because she doesn't have a father ever. She's never met her father. And I am her father, basically, you know. So this elder that I work with, he works in the same company that I do right now, currently. He did what he had to do. He reported me to to the elder body, and then it was him and another elder, and they formed a judicial committee. And the whole thing was, you know, because I had premarital relations. And I was disfellowshipped. At that point, I was believing, but I was never fully convinced. You know, my mother raised us alone. We didn't have an elder father. We were I forget the term that they used, but, you know, fatherless boy, fatherless child, you know, like in the hall, me and my two brothers. So we were never anything. We were always like put off. I always felt like it was the truth, you know, this and that. I would try. I, you know, stop going to the Kingdom Hall and then try and come back. And, you know, I just felt like every time I go into a Kingdom Hall, they already knew how they were going to treat me. Like, you know, it's like they're like, oh yeah, send your cards over. You know, they review it and they already know what they're going to do with you. You know, I struggle with trying to just be good enough, you know, like with everything that's required of you. There's a lot of things that are required of you. And to be honest, like, who can measure up to their standards? I mean, I tried my very best. I really, really did. So I don't know where I left off. I was disfellowship. I went to this elder in my hall. So they disfellowshipped me. So I wrote letter to them 3 months, 6 months, and then 9 months. I was like, man, these guys aren't gonna, they're not gonna let me in the hall, and they're not gonna, I'll never be anything, you know. I was so low and so down. My mother was born in 1950. She lives 10 minutes away. It's the reason why I moved to St. Augustine to take care of her, take care of her, you know. I just thought I could go to the elders and be like, man, don't you know what it's like not to have a woman, you know? After my daughter was born, her mother decided to choose drug use, drug addiction. And she abandoned her mom, she abandoned me. At kindergarten, I got my daughter full time. I'm an iron worker in South Florida, welding, rigging. That's a hard responsibility to take, to sit at my boss's desk. When I walked into his office, I put the company card, keys to the office, keys to my truck, instructions for the next job, everything on the desk. And I said, my daughter comes number one, so I can't make it to your job at 6 a.m. And he worked with me. He let me just show up at whatever time and work and weld. And I raised my daughter on my own for that many years. It's just been such a struggle. And then to go to these men who you're supposed to believe are gonna take care of you or treat you good, or like actually give you some good advice. Okay, yeah, you messed up, you know. Let me work with you. You know, what's going on? Let's have a burger. Let's go out for a burger. Let's go out for beer. You know, none of that. It's like boom. It's so hard to really deliver everything in an organized way to where everyone can understand it. But the way that it comes to me is rapid, scattered, just the way that it happened. I understand now why people write books, because they can like wait and they can get through all of this and then they can write, or they're writing while all of this is happening, which is amazing. And then after they can edit, boom, 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 and then form a book. I'm at the stage, and I probably will be in the stage for a while, where I'm just trying to figure this out and feel it out and just you know, just the whole like Amari's mom leaving her is a lot to deal with. And then to take that responsibility as a try and be a man, try and be a woman at the same time. Try and be an iron worker, welder, and deal with that as a leader over there. And then this is so soft, you know, this is. It was difficult. So I get to the point where I let the elders know. They formed a committee. I'm this fellowship now for 6 months. I've written 3 letters so far. My first letter was like 30 days, maybe 60 days after. And they shot it down, shot it down, shot it down. And I was still believing that that was the truth at that point. I had been in and out, but I was always, whenever I was out, I was like, oh, this is always the truth, man. You better watch out when the sky gets dark. That's it, man. You're done. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. You know, the way that you're taught and raised, I was raised from a baby in the carriage. My mother would pick the aisle seat, and she would put her child in a cart in the aisle seat, listening. Buckle on if you act up. So after 9 months, I go, and I'm not on the computer all the time or anything. I'm more mechanically inclined, you know, like I'll tear down the transmission, engine, or whatever before I go and fiddle with this thing. I stay away from this kind of stuff, which is probably why I was stuck downstairs for the past 30 minutes. But so I go and type on my phone because I was struggling, you know, disfellowship. And I type into Google. I said, how can I deal with being disfellowshipped? I never looked on the computer for anything ever. If I was looking up something, it was like how to like replace the brakes on the 91 Miata or something like that, you know, something that's pertinent to whatever I'm doing, but I'm not on the computer, you know, and doing stuff like that. So I'm like, I'm looking up car parts and all this other kind of stuff that I'm doing. I got a dirt bike and a motorcycle and all this other stuff. Let me look this up. And when I pressed enter, I was blown away.
Oh, yeah.
To say it, to try and bring it to the way that we can understand this. This is 2020, mid 2020. I met Rebecca March probably, who is now my fiance.
Yeah.
Man, ARC, Jackson.
Too much.
Too much, man.
Yeah, too much.
All I have to say is just pull up that video. I think that's like Jake Control on his site. I sent that, and I'm kind of jumping a little bit forward, but I sent that out because that's not Jesus representative, Jesus brother, or anything that could even be in the same room. And I was shattered when I saw that man say the things that he did inside of a courtroom after putting his hand on the Bible and swearing on it and everything. What a shame. He let so many people down. And at the same time, he also revealed everything. I mean, everything in just that one video. For me, I know everyone has their own particular thing. But for me, that video of him, I felt such ashamed. I felt like the opposite of what I did when I remember when I came up, when I was baptized and I came up out of the water and all those people were standing around the pool and they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. When he said that, I felt the complete and total disgusting opposite of that. He didn't represent anything that he teaches. That's what woke me up on my 9th month of being disfellowshipped. And then as you dig and dig, as many hours as you have, you can dig. And because I'm an AC technician and I can work with my speakers, is when I started digging in at work. And I put on your show. And I put on all the shows. And I listened to them all. I listened to what's current, but more importantly, you got to go back. Go back. That's the most important thing, I think, for me. This is only me. And I'm just someone trying to learn what the heck is going on here. I mean, come on, let's be honest here. I'm just a regular old Joe, you know? I've never been anything in the hall. I've never been a ministerial servant, elder, nothing. I've always been, oh. He coulda, shoulda, woulda. Yeah. In the back room, I'm sure that's what they always say. You know? Because that's really what it is. But go back, do your research, and look and learn and teach yourself. Because going and sitting inside of the Kingdom Hall on Sundays and studying their literature and going all this is not, it's just not teaching you, you know, what's going on, what has been, and what's coming up. Because it's repeating itself, just like fashion. It's the same thing. It's like all the styles of the 90s are back in right now, you know. The bright colors and all, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's replacing, you know, it's coming back again. So I came up from St. Augustine to show my support. Because when I was working, because I'm one of 3 boys raised in South Florida. I'm sure some people know who I am and my brothers are. I have 2 brothers, one older, one younger. This religion really did a number on my family. I don't talk to anyone in my family. No one talks to me. So I got reinstated after 1 year. After that 9 months, I did my research. 10, 11, 12, 3 months. Within that time, I was woken up from doing research, from watching videos. Kim and Mike, Rick, every Saturday. I remember tearing down my engine, 91 engine, 91 Mazda Miata. I'm tearing it down on the engine stand, and I got your show on, and I'm just tearing it down. This was like early on.
Yeah.
It was part of all of this process. It's a whole journey, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm about to build that engine now in about 2 months.
Right.
So I'll take you for a ride.
Well, Jay, let me ask you, what did you think of the protest today? What brought you up here? How'd you?
So that's exactly what it was. That's exactly what I'm leading to.
Yeah.
You know, so a year after I was reinstated and everything, and the elders said, "Oh yeah, we want to get you to study the God's love."
What the camera? Now you speak to the audience. A couple thousand people out there. They want to hear from you.
So the elder says, "I want to study the God's love book with you." I let him go for like 3 days. He texted me back. I was reinstated on a Tuesday. Everyone texted me. My phone was exploding that night. And they wanted to study the God's love book with me. You know, he texted me for that. And after doing all the research that I did, what I told him was, I said, I prefer to study the Shepherd the Flock of God book, chapter 12. XYZ. A text message.
Good for you, Jay.
And then that was the beginning of the end.
Good for you. Yeah, we like that.
So they all cut me off, blocked my phone numbers, you know, whole nine.
That's what we do.
And then you're just like cut off. My mom, she barely talks to me.
Yeah.
But I wanted to come here and show my support, because I can't make a video and like edit, like all these guys, you know, that do their videos and edit and do all this research and everything just to help us take advantage of I just like to let everyone know, take advantage of the resources that you have. You know, everyone has a different personality. You know, you're digging for facts, so don't get hung up on anything besides the facts. You know, everyone has their own personality. I'm wearing black sweatshirt, or, you know, if you like brown, that's fine, or if you like pink, that's fine. But, you know, just search for the facts. And this is what I try and tell my mother. You know, she was born in 1950. She went through the 75. She went through everything, you know, and I've put this evidence in front of her and challenge her to do your research. I'm just trying to please just do your research and then let's talk about it. And she's just not even willing to do that.
No.
So it's all right there. You just have to go and look for it. You know, it's all right there.
Absolutely.
It really is. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, Jay, my goodness, I want to say a few words on it about you, because you impressed me. You really impressed me. Good.
Yeah.
Good job. Really. Very good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't trip over my
Well, I mean, Jay has really been touched by the tentacles of the Watchtower. There's no doubt about that. And you know, I'll tell you, of all the people, we're now seeing thousands of people that are leaving the Watchtower. And some have been pretty badly beaten up. And I can see Jay really, you know, he wanted to believe in God, he wanted the truth, but he found out when he talked to the elders, they're not your friends, Jay. You know, in a normal Christian religion, or even if you went to a person and you told them you were having some difficulties in life, a normal, loving person would work with you. Gee, like you said, well, come on, let's work together and see if I can't get through this. But not in the Watchtower. Boy, you go and you're told to confess your sins to them, to an elder, and they just fellowship people left and right. I've heard that so many times on our network here. But what I gathered, in fact, you know, certain little points of interest I noticed with you, Jay, you really took this seriously. And, you know, you're probably even reaching out. You wanted to be a servant at one time, didn't you?
Yeah, I was always trying to just be good enough, just prove I was good enough. Not only in the Kingdom Hall, you know, it's everywhere. Even today, even yesterday, the day before, it's so deeply rooted in me to.
Well, what I noticed too is, you know, from a state, I lived in Florida, and there's a good old boy network down there. And I mean, I've seen it. I've lived in the Northeast, and I lived down in Florida as well. And I was told down there that it's like a little network, and they'll get you in. But if you don't fit in, if for some reason you don't fit, you never get looked at. And I saw that so many times in the state of Florida. But it's really a shame because you could have been an asset to them. And they kept it, you're very humble. I can tell you're a loving person. But for some reason, they just don't. There's certain men that they will never even touch with a 10-foot pole. And it's a shame that that happens. But that's how evil this organization is. Well, thank you for that story, Jay. That was really good. I really enjoyed that. You were on the Six Queens Telenetwork, and that was Jay from St. Augustine, Florida. And wow, wasn't it amazing, friends, to hear these stories on what goes on behind the curtains of the Watchtower? Well, we can number up in our room here. We are coming to you from the Washington Plaza Hotel. We still have a lot of people listening in online. It's amazing to me, really, that you're still there. So if you would like to call in, and the telephone number is right there, and that's one with there right there. So let's see who this is. It looks like Jonathan.
This is Jonathan.
Well, hello, Jonathan. Good that you're calling in tonight. Appreciate it.
On YouTube.
There's a 2-minute delay. Yeah, I can't do too much about that, but you're watching anyways, and so you're listening in. So did you want to say something tonight to somebody?
Yeah, absolutely. It's available.
Sure, go ahead.
Like,
You're on.
You're on. Yep. Oh, hold on one second. Just hold on 1 second here. Let me make sure things are moving in the right direction. Let's see. Hold on 1 second. Just give me 1 second here, John. Hang on the line. Let's just check a couple things. Just checking a couple things, Jonathan. Hang on line with us, just making sure that everything is working well here. So just hang in with us, and we'll get right to you, and we'll get right on here. All right. All right, Jonathan, go ahead. You run with us.
My story, I guess it's difficult. One thing is the organization Jehovah's is, in my opinion, they don't care about you personally, or one my family. Marital sex with someone I was in love with, but whenever like I was reaching out to the body builders to without really anything. They just had to send your fellowship to my user, like, no, you just speak to your user. So they were basically essentially, that's why. So even in like you get to speak to your accuser, you get to talk to, you know, you get a secret situation. Like if you are guilty, then at least you get to know what's going on. You know, over to like this is completely ridiculous. It's not a real system. It's a cult. It's just they want you to believe like them if you don't think like them. So, yeah. So I should talk about like that because it's not like it's not my experience.
It's still on, yeah. So what about your cousin?
Yeah, but I won't use this name because like, you know, before this. But according to what he told me, he he sort of said like that, or I don't believe in the word "send," but to use that terminology, he didn't do anything like. According to what he told me, he was asking about flood and the flood accounts. This was to have happened 3,500 years ago, and was writing questions in to the branch of the headquarters, and essentially he got fellowships just for writing letters asking the questions about the timeline and chronology of history to that time, because the chronology doesn't make sense. And just even the inquiry led to his fellowship. And yeah, that also was excommunicated, but just that thoroughly confirmed what is true, that it's not a system based on love like they claim. It's a system based on control, and that is the opposite of love. And so that
Well, no doubt, Jonathan, you've been touched as well by the tentacles of the Watchtower. Obviously, we all have a story to tell. I want to thank you very much. So we do appreciate you coming on and talking. Normally, we do it through a different phone line, but we were able to hear you pretty good. Listen, we thank you for coming in, okay?
I'll jump in.
Yeah, we're on YouTube right now. Thank you. Yeah, bye-bye. Well, if anyone wants to call into the line, we don't have a normal telephone line hooked up, but if you want to dial my cell phone, 508-572-5599. And, you know, we've been doing the program now for 18 years, This is a special program. We do it once in a while. We have special programs. This is one of them. But what I say, what really works here, the 6 screens, what really gets people's attention is when people tell their stories. It really does. I find that that is one of the big reasons they love to hear people's stories. We all have a story to tell, don't we? Every one of us have been touched, as we say, by the tentacles. Well, Jay, your story went over really big here on YouTube. Yeah, they really liked your story, so that's a wonderful thing, you know.
All right.
So I appreciate, they all appreciate you coming on and telling that story. Yeah. So anyways, we'll go a little bit longer here. We have a full room of people. What happened is they spelled my name wrong. They had it down as Ferenski or something like that. I'm not even Polish, but it was something like that. So people were coming to be with us and they couldn't get up here and be with us. So I'm sorry, folks, they didn't make it in.
I want to say something.
You want to say something?
Yeah, just
Hold on 1 second. Hello? Who's this?
Antonio PIMO, XJW, currently JW now.
Yes, Anthony, is that your name? Antonio, yeah, go ahead. So what would you like to say?
No, trouble witness, never really brought up the end of the truth. I was for that one for the end. I got to stage around 16 and started to see it as more as a corporation instead of a religion, you know. And by the way, people hear me on YouTube, they were saying that they couldn't hear me. They couldn't hear the last part. So.
Well, it was a little bit, I got the microphone closer to you, but what I'll do is I'll just kind of reiterate some of the things you say, Anthony. All right, so that, because we have different, this is not my normal phone line, so it might be a little more difficult. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of reiterate some of the things you say, okay? So you don't believe this organization is a loving organization? Yeah.
I'll keep the room brief for the next call.
All right.
So yeah, it means that I'm 25, at least 8 years since religion has been thrown in my family. We haven't even get the chance to really know our loved ones, the separation. What's his name? Surviving Paradise, that YouTube channel. It really helped me out to see how they looked out. Erase your self-identity and you're disassociated, like zombie likes inside the truth. And I'm currently a member now. Assignment next week I have to do a 10-minute talk. So I'm currently still in it, but mentally I'm out. And it's just so frustrating because there's a lot of young ones in there. I see them. They want to play sports. They want to play soccer. There's sisters in there who are married to the wrong people just because he's a servant or elder. Young ones can't really, maybe older ones too, they can't dress the way they want to dress. They gotta buy jeans for a cleanup, a hall cleanup, because they can't have jeans that they've had all their life. And brothers can wear, I'm a black person. We can't have our hair how we want to have our hair. So everything has to be cut short. So it's just really sad. And we support that after watching DC. It was amazing. I'm in traffic right now, but it's worth it.
So were you there today, Anthony?
Yes.
Oh, very good. So
Yeah, it was amazing to see these people that, Central Mass myself, so it's a drive.
Oh, you're from Massachusetts. Where do you live in Central Mass?
Springfield.
Oh, yeah. No, went right through it. I live in Eastern Mass. I live on the Boston side, yeah. Well, thank you for,
I'm currently having another part to do. I'm just taking my time to eventually ease out my way on this.
you weren't one of the men that was wearing a mask today, were you? No, but you were PIMO, yeah. Well, thank you for driving all the way down from Massachusetts. I know it's a good haul, it's about 550 miles, but you be careful driving home, Anthony. And I want to thank you for dialing in here tonight. Thank you. We got another call coming through. Thank you, Anthony. Yeah.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead. You're on with us. Who is this? Hi, Janet. Yeah. Wow. What? Repeat that? So, oh yeah, no, we had over 200 people there in person, and a lot of people were listening online. So it made a difference. It really made a difference. Well, thank you for sharing that thought. Yeah. Well, you made our night. Thank you. You keep cranking away at it. All righty. All righty. We had some more callers coming in, so now's the time to dial. The floor is open right now, so go ahead and dial. So, friends, we had, upwards of 200 people there today, probably even more. But at the same time, I mean, we had a lot of people listening online. Friends, I know that there may be some sound issues, but just have to deal with it a little bit. We should have 2 or 3 computers running here. Back in my studio, I have 6 computers, and it's easier to monitor everything. But bring the mic next to the phone so we can hear him. Well, that fellow that was just on, for some reason, when I put the mic here, you can't hear him good. But just to reiterate what he said, his name is Anthony, and he came to the protest. He came down from Massachusetts, and he said that he's still in the witnesses. He's a PIMO. He's still physically in, but he's not happy with what's going on. So he made it all the way down 550 miles out of New England to come down here and be at the protest today. And there were a number of people at the protest today that were active witnesses, from what I understand. That to me is amazing. That to me really, you can put a lot of legs on that, as I said earlier. That speaks volumes to me. That hasn't always happened. Thank you for checking in with us. Well, anyways, if there's anyone else that would like to call in, I know this phone is not the best, but we can at least hear you here and reiterate what's going on. Is there anyone in this room that would like to say anything else?
I want to share something else.
Go ahead, yes.
This is Andrea again, Randy's daughter. Oh, here, here.
I'm not done. Good, thank you.
Okay. I was going to share this earlier and I forgot, because when I was at the protest, everybody was talking about being shunned and losing friends. And that's true. And the power and the damage that the Watchtower has to people that's been shunned is true. But the saddest thing to me is when I've lost friendships, even from people that are out. And this is not because of a personality conflict or anything like that. This is because of the emotional damage that the Watchtower has done to my friends. I have a friend that I grew up with. We were friends since we were like 14 or 15. We moved away, we grow up, and we can't be as close as we were. But I got to noticing like fewer and fewer replies to messages. And I'm thinking to myself, have I done something to offend her? We have different views. That doesn't change our friendship. We have different beliefs and belief systems, and that doesn't change friendship to me. That doesn't matter. And so I'm wondering, did I do something to offend you? And I reached out several times asking that. I don't get replied. So finally, one time I just sent a plea. I said, please tell me, because if it was something I would have done, I would just like to know. Even if you don't want to be my friend, I just want to know if I've done something to offend you. And she wrote me back, and she wrote me back and complimented me and told me I was very kind. Even when I was still a witness and I shunned her, I felt, and I asked that. I said, is it because I shun you because I feel so guilty about that? Is it because of this? And she said, no, you were actually the kind, even though you shunned me, I knew it was coming from a good place in your heart, and you did not want to do it, and you only thought you were trying to help me. It wasn't malicious. And it's not that. It's the fact that I've tried to build my life and distance myself from that. And even any reminder, even a visit from a friend, or trying to be close to a friend that I had back then, even though we're both out now, even just that reminder is disorienting and hurtful and painful. And so when I think about the damage that is done, even when our friends are out and we think we can talk to them, that this damage is done so bad to people's emotional systems and their psyche systems that they can't even be friends, not even talk. I mean, like I don't even want to talk about the Watchtower with her. I just want to be her friend. And the fact that she can't even be friends because just the memories that we had that I think are great memories bring her such pain because of the other things that were attached to them for her. So to me, that kind of damage just says amounts because even when they get out, they can't be friends. So that to me, that kind of level of just abuse is just so wrong, and that's what we have got to stop. So that was mine. I had to add that. And when he said, does anybody feel inspired when we were there? And I thought that thought just came into me. I was processing it, and I've talked to other friends that were never witnesses about that, and they say you just have to understand people have to heal sometimes, and it's not you. But to think, this is the damage that the Watchtower's done. This is not me. This is not her. This is the damage that the Watchtower's done. And it made me wonder, has anybody else had those experiences where even just friendships with people that they had when they were witnesses bring back these hurtful memories? But yeah, that's what I have to say.
Good job. Good job. How do you sleep? Well, we have got Keith on the phone with us. Keith is calling in. He likes to listen to the program. So Keith, what do you have to say to us?
It's scary to speak out. Understandably beautiful, but you've been doing it for so long, and it's one of the things that I love. You used to stand outside of Amherst, Massachusetts, when I would go there years ago. So thank you for what you do. People and it's in the protest is helping people. It's just to see so many people just leaving, and the good friends of mine tell me.
Well, I'll do that. They're here tonight. I have to tell you, Keith, really, I'm just going to tell the audience because there's a little problem here with some of the microphones and people call in. But that's Keith calling in, and he went to, what I was even saying today, and I believe this, you know, when I used to even protest years ago, it was like people would say, Rick, nobody's going to listen to you. But now here we have a guy that listened to us. And I've had that happen a few times. People said that they listened to us protesting somewhere, and it got them thinking. So thank you very much for calling in, Keith. I really appreciate it. I really do. Thank you. All right. Good night. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, see, there it is. That's why, you know, there's going to be more people protesting. There's no doubt about it. More people are going to keep coming out. This was a milestone today. I'm having a hard time even digesting it. This because I told Justin, he was on a program for the last couple of weeks. I said, Justin, are we going to get 50 people? Yeah, we're going to get more. I said, well, I hope so. We're going to get 100? He says, I think we're going to get 100. I said, we can get 100, I'll be a happy man. But geez, I counted, like I said today, when I counted today, it was about, I'd say 1 o'clock, 1:30. I counted 152, 153 people. But then all of a sudden, a lot more people showed up. And even one man I was talking to, he said, gee, he says, I came to the protest. I thought it was going to last till 4 o'clock. But he said, I just came. He says, but it's just over. And there was more people coming in too. And then I looked around, and at first I thought some of the people might have just been like White House visitors, but it wasn't. These people were all connected with the Watchtower. One man even come up to me, and he was from the United Kingdom too. And he listens into this program over there. And he said, why don't you meet my wife, Rick? I met her, and they were there. And it's amazing how many
I couldn't
people.
even get around and meet everybody.
Oh,
I feel like at most, XJW meetups and things, you get to meet everybody. There's no way we could have met everybody there.
But you made a statement just a little early ago when you were on, honey, and you said that it was like being in a convention.
Yeah.
When we were at a convention, remember at the end of the convention, we'd be hugging each other, and we're all so happy. That's what it reminded me of too. And but this is genuine love. It's genuine love, and we've all been in touch. You want to say something, Joe? Come on up and say something. Come on up and say something. People, in fact, they did. Put Joe back on. Put Joe back on. Brian, take all the airwaves over on us.
Bad. You know, I heard it's gonna be 4 o'clock too.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
I have to, I have to, double up on what Jay was saying and what he was showing. And Jay was looking for something special. He was looking for something special in that organization. He was looking for someone who cared, someone who loved, someone he needed, and we all needed as a human being. I was looking for the same thing too. I never had any brothers growing up. I had 3 sisters. So, and I felt the need for brothers. I was just interested in having a brother. You know why? Because I didn't have one. And here in that organization made of brothers, they really weren't brothers. They were all working hard at being an approved associate. That's the best you could probably ever be, is to be an approved associate. And you're doing real good if you're an approved associate. You know, you get to go to this and go to that and be this and be that. That's all you'll ever be, is being an approved associate. Even though we called each other brothers. Conditional, brother. Very conditional, very conditional. And when we find out that elders are absolutely nothing of shepherds, like they're pretending to be, or they're portrayed to be, they're not shepherds, they're policemen, they're enforcers. And it hurts. It hurts to find that. But the thing that we're finding now among us, called apostates or whatever, we're friends. We're friends. And just one of the scripture that says a friend is someone sticking closer than a brother. And that really is the truth. And that's the thing we're proving to each other. We're friends. And that's real. That's very real. And as far as brothers, well, friends are good too. I'm never going to have a brother that I know of, but I've got friends. And that's special.
Tell them what our daughter said.
Oh,
This is clear.
and this is a perception that the society tries to portray, that if we leave the organization, you're going to lose all your friends. You're going to have no one. It's going to be terrible. Then I thought about it. I said, and I said the name. We find a place big enough, we're going to have a party for all our friends. But we're going to have to find a place big enough.
They say their friends are all shrinking.
Yeah. And see, this is what I hope us to show. See, we realize we're not apostates, we're graduates. We graduated. We're gone. We're out. We graduated. And beyond that, we're also, we're victors. We're winning. The society is lost. They've lost. They're gone. They're lost. They're history. They're on the wrong side of history. And what we do is show them, I just go forward with total confidence. See, not to play by, someone mentioned you don't want to play the part of being the victim, being hurt. No, we're the ones that come through with our freedom. And we're very confident with that. And we show that confidence to the ones that are still in. They're looking for it. They're looking for that. Well, we're the ones that are going to show them. We are the ones that are showing them. I mean, through Rick's program and everything that's going on here, what we saw today, we weren't just protesters, we were friends. And we're people that are showing others that they can have friends too. So we can be really inviting to them. I mean, truly, none of this love bombing stuff. Just it's terrible, but just true friends. It's an old concept, but it works. We'd be true friends.
Oh, thank you.
We'd love to stay all night.
Well,
Honestly, I'm not as young as the rest of you guys here.
What we're going to do, we're going to wrap it up, but I just want to say to the friends, I don't want to keep you guys up any later. We're going to close this down in about a minute or two. But if you could have felt the energy, I'm going to go with that. There was so much energy today, I think it could have lit up Washington, D.C., really. I mean, really, people were excited. Everybody was happy. They're hugging each other. They're just, I can see it. You can see the expression on their faces. I mean, body language can really speak volumes. And there was a lot of things going on there today. People were happy to be there. And Jay coming all the way up from St. Augustine and coming up and saying, I want to be here, and all the troubles you've been through. You felt energy today, didn't you, Jay? See that? So I want to thank you all for coming here tonight and being with us here.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Yeah,
hosting.
like 60 seconds, if I could
You
say
want 60
something
seconds?
else.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Sure, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
So what I'd like to say is to Jay. Oh. So what I would like to say is directed particularly to all of my brothers and sisters who are inside of the Watchtower organization, and they're questioning. They're thinking of going online and getting answers to their questions. Close the shades. Go in the closet. Go in the bathroom. Take your phone.
I heard it in the closet.
Incognito mode. Google. And do your research. Take a long shower. Okay? Do your research. That's my message. Ultimately, that's my message, because it's really up to every individual to do this. It's up to you to take control of what is at your fingertips, because it's really at your fingertips. And like I said before, I'm not on the computer at all, ever. And I found it out because I wanted to know the truth about what's going on. Why are these elders acting like this? That was my question. When I got home and I walked into my kitchen, my mother was standing on the other side. And I remember I was taking my jacket off, just like this. I was in the middle of this. And I told my mom, I said, these guys don't have Jehovah's Holy Spirit. And that's what caused me to search. And it's all right there where you already are, because everyone's on their phone and on their computers. Because I live in St. Augustine, I work in the AC business. I mean, and I see the homeowners, they're always on their computers. But when I came to DC today, everyone is walking around looking at their phone already. Everyone's already there to get maps to the metro, maps to the wherever they're going. So we already have this tool at our fingertips, and it's up to each individual to take advantage of the resources that we have. And all of the YouTubers, Felice, I met Felice today. JW Diaries, Justin, I met him today. Like I said, Kim and Mike, Rick, Wally. Man, these were so instrumental in me kind of like jump-starting the engine for me to do my research, because it's not only on their videos that you're going to find all this information. You got to like look at their videos and be, and deeper over here. So you got to go and do that. You got to go and do that work. You have to do it. And I encourage everyone that's ever been a witness, been raised a Jehovah's Witness, please You are all good enough. All of you are so good enough. I'm telling you something that I never thought of ever myself. I was never, ever good enough. I'm still never good enough. But I'm letting all of everyone know, please, just go online and do some research. Do it for yourself. You're all good enough. You're beyond good enough. You're beyond the cap and that they want to press and push on you. You know, I'm just beginning to know that I'm somebody. I'm just beginning this, and I'm 43 years old. I was born in 1980. You know, and I'm waking up like 2.5 years ago, slowly. So my final message is just please do your research. Don't take anyone's word for anything. We live in an age where you can get on and you can find it out for yourself. And I suggest that everyone do that. And today was a great day to let that to be known, because I really feel like this is the beginning of some real change to be in the future, which is awesome. And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Daughter was listening to that too.
Right. Even though I feel like anxiety and scared, but I feel like I should do it or I'll regret it. Oh, hey everyone. I'm just going to say 3 random topics really quick. The first thing I wanted to say was, so last weekend, the OG just defector from Watchtower, Tony, and he's like very artistic, and he was a little bit giving a hard time about, you know, move on with your life type of thing. Don't go on and on dwelling with the XJW thing. But one comment I wanted to say on that was, like, I just discovered the truth about the truth in July of this year. And honestly, like, I'm very like alone and recluse like in my life, in my regular daily life. And finding Rick's community and his 6 Screens program was a lifeline to me. It is to this day such a lifeline to me. So I just wanted to say to Tony, I love your channel. I love your videos. Like, I love you. But the one thing I wanted to say to what you were saying to Rick is and I think Apostasy said this as well. She called it afterwards or something. And I agree with her that because new people are learning the truth about the truth, like every day, every month, every week, especially lately, it seems like God is drawing people out a lot from the Watchtower Borg, a lot lately. Like, maybe he knows something we don't, but I really feel like there's been a heavy exodus lately, and the governing body obviously has been messing up so much lately as well too. So Tony, it is good that Rick continues to do 6 Screens, because I am super grateful, because for me, his community and his broadcasts are a lifeline to me, because I'm kind of like a recluse person. Okay, so that was the one random thing I wanted to say. And the second thing I want to say, oh, you guys, I'm just like you guys. I'm just a regular listener. I just tune in every Saturday. Like, I live for tuning in every Saturday. And I'm sorry, that's like totally pathetic. But like 6 Screens is like what I live for every week. Because like, it's the one place that I feel family, and I feel like connected to a community. Yeah. And I'm totally more like recluse and isolated from my family, and I don't have any friends at the moment, because obviously all my friends were in JW world, and I'm staying away from that now, and they've been soft shunning me because they noticed that I still haven't gone back to the meetings, etc. So, so I just wanted to say, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm a regular viewer like you, and this is like, you know how they have those contests where you win VIP tickets to like a famous rock band? One of the benefits is you get to go back to their suite afterward or backstage and hang out with them. You guys, I wish you could experience this. It's like being in studio with Rick Farron and Fran and Joe, and like, you know, and watching the show and being here live is amazing. So I wish you could all be here. It's just like make a wish foundation wish or something. And then, okay, so that was random second. And the last thing I just want to randomly make a comment on, this is more of like a mini rant, is one of the things, well, okay, well, I'll just say this first and then I'll go into the general thing, is even though I was already defected from the meetings and the congregation, like maybe since 2016, for a myriad of other reasons, but the thing that was my watershed moment where instantly I knew that that Jehovah's Witness organization, Watchtower Board, was not seeking God's guidance and was not seeking and receiving Holy Spirit guidance, was when they threw their entire rank and file to the Mengele medical experiment camps and said to take the COVID Franken vaccines. Because I seriously have been following the medical system for like decades already. I mean, decades really. And so from jump, I was following the alternative media research suppressed truth about the COVID vaccines. And when I saw that like Anthony Morris and Garrett Loesch were advocating the experimental injections to their entire rank and file, and then also there was an episode with Anthony Morris where he was praising and highlighting workers in a certain foreign country who he was saying that like the majority of the other applying employees did not want to take the jab. But our sisters like applied and they all complied and took the jab. And so he was making a highlighted example of the sisters willing to take the jab to get the jobs available. And it hit so ironically home for me because I was actually the entire year of COVID, year and a half of COVID, on tenterhooks because at my employment, they were requiring us to state our vax status and also to get the jab, basically. And because I wouldn't state my vax status, I was being, given summonses from my job and the management to, I could have been put on unpaid kind of suspension type of thing. So when I saw how out of touch they were with what I would say a substantial sector of their rank and file probably felt similar because they're truth seekers and they were sussing out the true and suppressed information about that. I'm sure the whole COVID vaccine push drove so many of the rank and file to wake up about whether Watchtower Board is backed by Jehovah's Holy Spirit and whether they sought Jehovah and Jesus guidance about the COVID vaccine. They didn't, because even when you went to CVS and asked the pharmacist, can I see the insert about the COVID vaccine? It's a huge paper and it's blank. So clearly, if they don't have the information on the formula in the insert, the governing body did not know what the true formulation was. And the fact that, so my rant is really, the theme of my rant is actually, the final thing about my rant is the disrespect that the Watchtower Board exhibits to the rank and file. The level of disrespect is so off the chart. So not only that they sold up the river their entire rank and file to potential Russian roulette medical damage to their health, but then secondly, look at when Anthony Morris, a longtime governing body member, is taken off, they show such disrespect to the rank and file that they don't even put a proper little bit of explanation whatsoever. And how that struck me, that's huge disrespect. I mean, he's one of the governing body members. The rank and file, if you respect your rank and file, you're gonna, you don't have to go into mega detail, keep his privacy a little bit, but you're gonna at least come before your congregants and you're gonna give some sort of statement about it face-to-face publicly. They never even gave a face-to-face broadcast. They could have done a JW broadcast update to speak personally to the rank and file, explaining about Anthony Morris's step down, even without going into full detail, but they didn't even have the respect of their towards their rank and file to do that. And then the final, most recent disrespect to the rank and file is, obviously, we all know, their whole annual meeting where they're like, we're not inspired, we're not led by God, we're not prophets, but still pay attention. They want it both ways, obviously, and so many people have commented on that. But then to even go further and have the gall and the disrespect of the rank and file to say, oh, and to just sneak in there, Jeffrey Winder to sneak in there, oh, we don't need to apologize for it either. And he just like snuck it in there and tried to like keep on going. That is their most recent blatant disrespect to the rank and file. And that just, to me, that just like puts the nail in their coffin. Just the fact of the disrespect that they exhibit to this sincere hanging on their salvation, to this, you know, thinking that this organization is being backed by God, which is what kept me in so long, even though it didn't match my personality, it didn't, you know, it wasn't what I wanted, but I stuck with it solely for being in a peaceful relationship with God, acceptable to God, and thinking that, oh, well, okay, being indoctrinated, I was born in, being indoctrinated, this organization was backed by God, the one that he was using. So yeah, so that was my rant. Just they really need to be taken to task for their disrespect of the rank and file. Like, I mean, even though I kind of do believe maybe they won't be taken down because people will hang on or whatever, but they really need to be taken down, or the rank and file need to really massively start defecting. Oh, and also one last thing. I don't, personally, me too, I don't like the word apostate myself as well. And the reason is because I feel the Watchtower board uses that term apostate as a demonization, weaponization, trigger word. So personally, I don't like that word apostate. To me, the most simple, clear, accurate word is dissenter, Watchtower board dissenter, or B, defector. We're dissenters and defectors because we recognize, just like we're leaving, if someone's leaving the Communist Party Russia or the Communist Party China, we dissent because we recognize that they are 1984 George Orwell. So, okay, yeah. So, love to all of you. You guys are my peeps in my community, so this was a problem.
Can I ask you a question?
Oh, yes.
Okay, on your second topic, you know, all the good things you said about sixth grade?
Yes.
How much did Rick pay you?
Oh, yeah. He paid me nothing. All right, love you guys. Bye.
Well, Susan, that was very good. Thank you for the compliments. Don't compliment me too much, though, because my drug dealer went away, you know? But anyway, we're gonna end the program, folks. That was Susan, and she was at the protest today as well. We'll be back next Saturday night at 5:45. We've got Touched by the Tentacles of the Watchtower with Anne Marie. She'll be on at 5:45 next Saturday night. Thank you for coming in and listening to the special Six Screens program. We want to thank all the people that came out to my hotel room as well. Good night now, everyone. Have a good night. We'll see you next Saturday night.
If we're over in Oklahoma, we'll look you up.
Okay.